Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Now here, that is all about the origin of the word Naga. First explanation was about the origin of the word Naga. Okay. Second was about the where they have come from which region or from which area the Nagas have come from. Now this slide is very interesting. This is about the Nagas and the Britishers. So before the intervention of the Britishers, before the Britishers coming to our land, it is strongly believed that, the land inhabited by the Nagas were very isolated. But with the coming of the Britishers, things began to change. Now let us find out what are they. So now here, Nagas, they came in conflict with the Britishers when they invaded the land. So when the Britishers, they came to our land, and when they tried to control our land, there arose a conflict. So many battles were fought. Okay, so many fierce battles were fought between the Nagas and the Britishers. All right. Eventually, Nagas were defeated because of the British military strength. Because the Britishers, they had proper equipped military tools. This is the reason why the Nagas were defeated. However, history tells us that yes, Nagas were considered to be a very brave warrior. Why? Because despite of the, outdated tools that they have used, because most of the time we will be using a spear and a dao. Okay, so it becomes very difficult to fight against a bullet. Okay, this is the reason why even the Britishers were very we're very happy about the, how do I put it, the brave attitude of the Nagas. So eventually the Nagas were defeated, but it was believed that the Nagas were considered to be a very brave warrior. All right. Now, after the Britishers coming to our land and invading our land, they decided to distribute the Nagas into different regions. This is where the structural changes can be seen very clearly. You have to listen to me very carefully as I explain this. Clear? Okay. So the Britishers, what they have come up with is that for easier administration, the British, they divided the territories inhabited by the Nagas. So, for example, there is this one particular territory where all the Nagas are residing. Okay, but after the Britishers taking over that particular land, they decided to divide the territories. The reason is because they want for easier administration. For easier conduct of the administration or to carry out the administration easily. However, you will see these changes after the British intervention. Okay, so as a result, what happened was that some Nagas came under India. We are the Nagas now. Okay, so some of the Nagas came under India. Some remained under Myanmar. And also in India, again, you will find Naga tribes in other states as well. Not only in Nagaland, but you will also find Nagas in some other states. This is the explanation. So in India, Naga tribes are found in Manipur. So you will get to see Naga Manipur. Okay, Naga Manipur. Then you will also get to see some Nagas in Assam. So they are termed as Assam Naga. Okay. Then we have the major tribes. They are residing in Nagaland and they are termed as the Nagas. Okay. And in some district of Arunachal Pradesh, Nagas, you will get to see some Nagas out there. Clear, everyone? Okay. So the next slide is about the Naga tribes that are residing in the state of Nagaland. Okay. So here. So in Nagaland, you will get to see 16 major tribes. I'm just taking up just 16 major tribes. Okay, you'll get to see the 16 major tribes in the state of Nagaland. That is Ao, Lotha, Sema, Angami, Ziliang, Konyak, Rengma, Chekesang, Sangdam, Yumjungar, Chang, Kuki, Kachari, Pom, Pochori, and Kemyongyang. Okay, I could not able to come up with all the pictures of the tribes because there was this time limited. Okay, this is the reason why I'm just showing you some of the pictures. Okay, so the first picture is about the Ao community. Okay, so this beautiful lady belongs to the Ao community. Then the second picture is about Sema. Okay, so this pretty lady belongs to the Sema community. Then the third picture is about Lotha community. So this pretty lady belongs to the Lotha community. So you'll get to see 16 tribes in Nagaland. Okay, the major tribes, 16 major tribes in Nagaland. So this Ao, Sema, Lotha, and also Angami, they are the major tribes. Okay. And also the culture of the Nagas are incredibly rich and colorful. You know, the culture of the Nagas are really beautiful. It's very vibrant and it's really rich. You can get to see that from the pictures itself. So Naga shawls are very famous in Nagaland. Even in the earlier days, it was there. And even in the present context, Naga shawls are very famous in Nagaland. See, you will get to see the rich culture in all the three pictures. You get to see that it is designed in so many cultural motifs. Yes or no? Yeah. Then again, you'll get to see here also the same thing. It's really rich. The color is really vibrant, and it's really beautiful as well. So this shawl belongs to different tribes. Different tribes. So, and all the 16 tribes, they have their own shawl. And this shawl has their own story. It has a unique story. It has a story behind there is a story behind every Naga shawl. Okay, so this is how we can say that yes, Nagas are definitely really rich in culture. All right. Then, when we talk about the ornaments, this is what you will get to see in Nagaland: traditional ornaments. So you see necklace, you see an armlet, you see an headgear, okay, and then earrings, all right? So this ornaments, that is the traditional ornaments, was already there in the previous days, and it is still there in the present context. Why? Because preservation of our culture is very important, because that is our identity, yes or no, okay? So now here, this armlets, earrings, necklace, headgear, these are made of beads. Okay, especially the necklace and the earrings are made of beads, and then some of the earrings and some of the necklaces are made of this colorful feathers of these colorful birds. Then ivory shells, and also some ornaments are made of this dyed animal hair. Okay, so these are ornaments of the Nagas. Okay, now when we talk about the traditional weapons, we have spear. This is famously called as Tau in Nagaland. And then there is this crossbow. This is a very interesting traditional weapon, especially used by the Sangdam tribe. Okay, and this traditional weapon, that is crossbow, we say it as a crossbow. You need to have a technique in order to use that. It's very fancy, it's very cool, and it's very interesting. Look at it, the way the man is holding it and the way he is biting the arrow. It's quite fancy, and it's quite intriguing. So these are the traditional weapons that you will get to see in Nagaland: spear, I'm saying in our own dialect, dao, and crossbow. All right. Okay. Now, when it comes to art, Nagas are really gifted and skillful in handicrafts. Okay, so here, wood carving, we are gifted in wood carving. This is just a mere wood, but the way they have chiseled it, the way they have carved it, it's just so mesmerizing, and it's just so beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure you all will agree with me on this. So this wood carving comprises of cultural motifs, which means the cultural designs and the cultural images. And then you will also get to see log drum. Oh, this is so fascinating to me. Okay, so this is just a simple wood, but they have carved it, or I can say they have chiseled it into an animal. Just imagine, see, this is so good, right? So these are about of wood carvings, and also village gate Not only that, utensils. Some of the utensils, there is some of the wooden plates, stand plate, and also spoons. So these are the wood carving skills of the Nagas, which was there in the early days, and so also is in the present days, in the present context. All right. Now, when we talk about bamboo is really famous in Nagaland. Bamboo craft is really popular in Nagaland. You get to see from the picture also. You get to see basket, basket weaving basket made of bamboo. And this is a mug bamboo, mug, where we used to board tea and drink, right? That is called mug, M-U-G, mug. So you will also get to see a mug bamboo in Nagaland. And see, I tell you, if you drink the peka jaha, that is the black tea from a bamboo mug, the taste is so different. The texture, there is this unique taste, which is very culture, which is very traditional. However, I love this taste. You should also try it. So yeah, bamboo craft is also another skill of the Nagas, which was there before. It is also there now. Okay, so these are the bamboo craft pictures that I would like to show you all. Then we also have to understand the social life of the Nagas. Now we are going to compare the social life of the Nagas in the early days, so also in the present context. Clear, everyone? So now look at the picture. It's in black and white. So you get to know from the picture that these are Nagas in the early days. Very easily. It's very easy to make it out from the picture itself, right? So these are some of the Nagas, having a conversation with this man. This is Jawaharlal Nehru, if you can recognize him. And these are also the Nagas in the black and white, black and white stage. And also here, the Nagas making a bonfire and then sharing stories with one another. Now I will be reflecting these pictures in the social life of the Nagas. So in the early days, the Nagas were very hardworking, no doubt, and they were very kind, honest, brave, and most importantly, agriculture happens to be the main occupation of the early Nagas. But when we compare to the present, present days or the present context, some of the Nagas, they do not practice agriculture as their livelihood. Some Nagas are doctors, some Nagas are engineers, lawyers, teachers, So there is a variation in the profession. But this was not so in the early days. In the early days, all the Nagas were farmers, and agriculture happens to be the main occupation of the Nagas. Have I made myself clear to all? However, they kept the social life active. They kept the social life going on. How? Let me tell you how. So they used to have hard working days. They used to work in the field the whole day. They will sweat, they will work. And then what they will do is after coming back, they used to have a social gathering every evening or maybe say every night. What they do is they used to make a bonfire. Okay, they will gather around, they will share stories, they will share their adventures, and that is how they used to keep the social life active. But when we try to understand the social life in the present scenario, that is in the culture of the Nagas, what is happening? We are very much confined to our four walls. We are always with our phone, and there is no social life. But this was not so in the early days. Our ancestors, our forefathers, they have kept alive the social life despite of their hectic days, despite of the hard working days. They still kept the social life active. Yeah. So what is happening to our present generation? We have to think about that. Okay, students. Okay. So yeah, the social life was definitely there in the early days. So what they do is after a long day, which means after working for the whole day, they will gather in the evening, make a bonfire, and that is how they will share the stories. Clear? Okay. Now, very interesting fact that I would like to put across to you all is about this. Morong. So Morong happens to be the center of social life for the early Nagas, especially for the young boys. Okay, for the young boys. So the members of the Morong will be were mostly comprised of unmarried young boys. Unmarried young boys, they used to stay in this morong. Clear? And also in some of the tribes, some young girls used to also stay there, but mostly it used to be the young boys. Okay, so this is the center of social life for the early Nagas. Why I'm saying this? Because this was like a school for them. In the present situation, we go to school, we learned from the school, right? But this was not so. In the early days, there were no schools, no colleges. There were not even one single schools. But this morong can be termed as a traditional school, according to my perception. Why is that so? Because in this particular center, that is this morong, in this morong, the young boys were taught about moral values. The lessons were given to them on traditions, cultures, folk songs, folk dances. This was imparted to the young boys. So we can say that, okay, fine, this is a sort of like a traditional school where moral values were taught to the young boys. Also, how to preserve tradition, culture, folk dances, folk songs were taught to them in this particular center known as the morong. Okay, and also very interesting fact is as such that there was sports in the early days. Okay, so the practice of sports was also carried out in this particular center, that is morong. All right, okay, so now very quickly. Administration of the Nagas in the early days. So the Nagas, what they do is they used to build huge walls so that they will protect themselves from the enemies and also the wild animals, attack from the wild animals and attack from the enemies. Okay, and then during wartime, the village gates were mostly guarded and then were closed, and it was guarded every day and night. So the strongest man in the village used to guard the gate. Very, very strong and very brave. All right. And also, every member of the village was loyal to their community. Loyalty was not even a question. The villagers were very loyal towards their community. Okay, this is the reason why even in the present context, we say that Nagas are very loyal. Yeah. Okay. So this is all about the administration. But when we really look into the present scenario, village council is there in the present context as per the need of the community, yes or no. So when we talk about the administration of the villages in the present scenario, it will be mostly related to management of roads, construction of proper drainage and etc. etc. However, in the olden days, this village council will be more of like settling a dispute between two individuals or maybe between two clients, and also maintaining the morong. That was the center administration of the early Nagas. But in the present scenario, of course, like we adopt the modern administration. We have our own constitution, the Constitution of India, and that is how we are following up or practicing those norms in the present context. But this was not so in the early days. All right. Okay. Now here, sources of Naga history, you will find it in two sources. One is called the written sources. Okay. And then the other one is called the unwritten sources. So the term itself says written sources. So there was no written source of Naga history before the intervention of the British rule. Okay. So there was no written source. But with the coming of the Britishers, there was this written source. Now, the Britishers, they started to write about the culture of the Nagas in their books. That is how the written source of Naga came into existence. But this was not there before the Britishers coming to our country. Clear? Very quickly, when we talk about the unwritten source, let me just confine to you all with these three pictures. Now, this is a man telling a story to the children, a grandfather telling a story. This is related to monoliths and monuments. This is related to ancient tools. So these are the unwritten sources of Naga history. Clear, everybody? Very important. These are the unwritten sources of Naga history. So this is about telling of stories. This is about monoliths and monuments. And this is about ancient tools. So the stories were passed on from generation to generation, from the great-great-grandfather to the grandfather, grandfather to the parents, parents to the children. That is how the culture was carried on. Okay, that is why we say unwritten source. Then monuments. Looking at the monuments, we get to know that, oh, this was how the lifestyle was all about. Yeah. And then the ancient tools. Looking at the ancient tools, we get to know that, yes, oh, Nagas, they have also practiced agriculture. These are the tools that have used for cultivation. That is how we get to know, or we have an idea about the past life of the Nagas. Yeah. So this is an unwritten source of Naga history. This is very important. All right. Okay. So with this, we have come to the end of this chapter. Very quickly, this is the filling the blanks, and these are the answers. For number 1, it is warrior. 2 is worth. 3 is community. 4 is administration. All right. And the true or false, this true or false is very easy. If you were really paying attention to my explanation, that will be just a piece of cake. Okay. So this is a homework for you all. You have to carry it out yourself. And the exercise notes, I want all of you, to write it in your own words. Kindly write it in your own words, referring the lecture or referring the explanation. Clear, everyone? Okay, so with this, we have come to today's explanation. So a big thank you to you all for listening so diligently. Happy learning, everyone, and thank you so much.